I have what might be a controversial take, but I'm going to stand on it, on these frozen stumps of feet that I have, because it is so cold in New York that I feel like it's seeping through the walls and enveloping me. It is like minus 15 before wind chill Celsius for those Celsius enjoyers. I'm talking 10 Fahrenheit and below for the last week. I have not been able to feel my toes the last 3 days. I feel like one of those climbers on Mount Everest, where they just kind of give up on that sensation after a while and hope their toes are there at the end. I'm just not even taking them out of the slippers. I'm sleeping in the slippers, socks, slippers. The heaters are just not doing it anymore, right? I am basically an Arctic explorer at this point, but I'm going to put whatever toes I have left down on a controversial opinion that we need to bring out shame for being soft, right? This is an epidemic in the world of football. And I mean, it has been for a long time, because I think if you grow up in the United States in particular, you're even more aware of this than you are in most other parts of the world. And I realize that a lot of people typically do not have that understanding of American soccer culture. So let me help you. In the United States, soccer is considered a more effeminate sport. It's considered softer. It's a sport that women play. Particularly when I was growing up, this was almost exclusively the perception. And that is linked with, it's like a European or South American sport. It's, and you dive and whatever. It's not tough at all, right? I obviously, as somebody that have existed in the world of soccer and football for a long time, I know that's not true. I once had a conversation with somebody from a country I won't name because I'm not trying to disparage somebody. They told me they were surprised that we let women play because it's such a masculine sport, right? But in the United States, it is not viewed as that way, right? It is viewed as an effeminate sport. It is viewed as soft. And I think that there is a part of U.S. sporting culture that I experienced playing basketball my entire life, pick up basketball in the park, at the gym, whatever, that there is a real shame system in American football, in baseball, in basketball, in ice hockey, which are, the four major sports in the United States, of being soft. Like, if you are soft, if you're perceived as soft, you are shamed too much, to the point that people risk significant brain injury in American football, in ice hockey, right? They'll risk really significant, double down concussion brain injuries because they don't want to be perceived as soft, because the best ability is availability. I can take a hard hit and keep going. You're trying to prove that, right? Instead of the opposite of the flopping, right? Every once in a while, somebody will flop in ice hockey and they will get laughed at and shamed and made fun of. The same thing will happen in the NFL. There's more flopping in the NBA, but people always, make fun of it. There's like, LeBron's always flopping all the time. Look at this, is ridiculous flopping. Like, people are really aggressive in the United States of that perceived softness. And that's our own cultural issue that we need to deal with. But I think we need to introduce part of that into soccer. Like, you know how a vaccine works, where if you get the whole disease, it's a problem, like I was just talking about in the United States. But if you inject a little bit of it, you can train the immune system to prevent this shit from happening. That's what we need. A toughness, we need a shame vaccine for the world of football. And the latest example is my boy Nestori Irankunda, who plays for Watford in the championship. And I say my boy, and I actually mean it. We're mutuals on Instagram. I introduced his transfer to Watford. It was one of the coolest things I've been able to do in my professional life. But I was literally his transfer announcement to Watford. I pretended to sign him on Football Manager or whatever. If you didn't see it, it was very fun. So I know him, and he is a great guy, a quiet guy, nice guy, funny guy, right? Just sound guy. I spent an entire day with Nestori Irankunda. So in a rare turn of events, I actually know one of the people involved in this play. And I'm not saying what Nestori Irankunda did necessarily in this play is right. I'm just saying we need to reintroduce the concept of shame in shaming these people for being soft. It would make the sport better. So what happens here is it's a match very late in the match here. Let me actually, I haven't at this point looked up what this match was, but I'll go ahead and look it up now. The Watford match that ended 2-0 to Swansea. Irankunda gets a red card. in the 92nd minute. So the match is basically already over, right? There's obviously some frustration on the side of Watford because they're hoping that they're going to be able to, blast their way into the playoff positions, but that seems to be getting further and further away with a loss like this. For Swansea, they're already in that championship realm where you're just kind of floating somewhere, not in the relegation zone, but not in the playoff conversation. You're just vibing. You're just hanging out up the Swans, right? They're representing Welsh football in the second division because they're the only Welsh team there, except for Wrexham. Wrexham, if they get promoted, by the way, would then be... Well, right now, they're the highest Welsh team in the English league system. So that's just a funny aside. But the point is, this didn't really end up mattering that much, and it didn't feel like it was going to matter a ton at the time. Nestori Irankunda is dribbling the ball here. Right, and I'm going to try and do this in a way where I don't get DMCA'd because I've pissed off the DMCA gods a couple of times recently. Irankunda gets like double tackled. Basically, just like a couple of intense tackles. And then this guy, number 20, kind of walks up and just starts chirping at him. And then 14 obviously walks up to him and says something too. At which point, Nestori Irankunda shoves the guy, right? And you're thinking, all right, yellow card, everybody chill, right? Like, this is the end of the match. This guy was clearly antagonizing him. He gives him a shove. The shove's not okay, but he didn't like hit him in the face or anything. Yellow card, and hey, chill the fuck out and let's play these last 2 minutes of that incident. And then this guy, number 20, the guy that originally walked by him, walks up and shoves him. The referee is right here. Like, I know I was talking about like a toughness vaccine, like an anti-bitch vaccine, basically. But the referee could also referee this situation differently. The referee is right there, sees number 20 walk up and shove him harder than Irankunda shoved the other guy. Right, like Irankunda shoved the other guy. It was like, like get away from me type of shove. This guy comes in with the full force of the body and shoves Irankunda. At which point Irankunda turns around and shoves him. And this guy goes down like a sack of potatoes. I'm talking russet, Idaho grown potatoes. Okay, this guy he goes down holding his face. He goes down holding his face. His teammates are rubbing the back of his head. This is a joke. This is an absolute joke. Look at where he gets shoved, chat. I just said chat. I'm not streaming. Look at where he gets shoved. He gets shoved right in the chest, dude. He shoved right in the chest, and this guy goes down holding his face. It's a joke. You know what else is a joke? The guy that did the first of these two shoves, with the referee standing right next to him, gets a yellow. Irankunda gets a red. That just doesn't make any sense to me, especially when the referee watches both of these shoves. You know what I mean? When the referee is standing there watching both of these shoves happen, one and then the other. You know why Irankunda gets a red? I mean, there's some people that are going to make the argument that it's the initial shove, but I don't think we're focusing on that anymore because that was obviously a different category than these two shoves that bring a lot more velocity into the equation. And these two guys did walk up to Irankunda and antagonize him. You don't want to lose your head. And Irankunda, I'll read it for you later, did post like an apology for getting this red card. Because knowing this guy, he had to be very seriously antagonized for this to happen, right? This is not somebody that runs hot, who's wearing his emotions on his sleeve here. Right, but the only reason Irankunda is getting a red card here is because Cullen has gone down like a sack of potatoes. Where's the shame? That's the only reason that red card's coming out. He's gone down. If Irankunda had just flopped when he initially got shoved, I think Cullen might have gotten a red card. And you know what? I don't think that's okay. That doesn't make any sense to me. We're just incentivizing being super soft. If you're gonna, and here's what I mean by incentivizing being super soft, right? Cullen asked for it. I'm not going to be in the category of like, well, he asked for it, or there's a lot of terrible situations where you can say, well, they asked for it. In this situation, bro code, competitive sporting environment, we have crossed the line into serious physical contact. Right? Cullen, you could say, was defending his teammate here. The teammate walks up and is talking trash in the face of Irankunda. Irankunda gives him a get away from me shove. And then Cullen comes in and goes, boom. This is the same as Virgil van Dijk at the World Cup when we're talking about him body checking that dude on Argentina. If you make the decision to do that, we're in the arena now. I'm not saying people need to start throwing haymakers, but you can't be surprised when somebody's going to shove you back in that situation. Like you have now introduced yourself to the idea of we're facing off, right? Aaron Kunda he's done the get away from me shove. It's over. He's walking away, right? And if Cullen wants to defend his teammate, that's great, but you got to be ready, right? There's obviously, there's like an understanding of the bro code in this situation, the sporting bro code, that if you're going to go there, that's cool. And I'm saying this as somebody, and I just touched my nose because I was remembering something. As somebody, I've had my nose broken playing pickup basketball before. And when it happened, I went, you know what? I kind of deserved it. There's a sketch from I'm trying to think Bill Burr. There's a sketch from Bill Burr that he always says, like, it's not the worst thing in the world if you're a guy to get your ass beat every once in a while, because at some point in the drive home with your nose bleeding, you go, yeah, maybe I was being kind of a dick. Like, it really gets the message home. You know, like, I was playing pickup basketball, I was talking a bunch of trash, and this dude went up for a layup and threw an elbow very intentionally at my face and stapled my nose to my cheek. And I went, yeah. And he was like, dude, didn't mean to break your nose. Like, I was just trying to send it. But I was like, I did not get super mad at the guy because I realized that I had entered the arena. I was the one that started talking trash. I love it. I absolutely love it. I live for that. But when he broke my nose, I went, damn. Should have probably seen that one coming. Fair enough. And the dude was like, oh, shit, sorry. Like, you know, we exited that arena once we'd finally established that kind of back and forth. Once the back and forth exchange had been completed, we exited the arena. But this guy steps into the arena trying to defend his teammate or whatever. He was the first guy that walked by Aaron Kunda talking shit in the first place. And he shoves him pretty damn hard. And Aaron Kunda shoves him in the chest, and he goes down rolling around covering his... This is just soft. It's embarrassing. And the worst part is it's incentivized by the way the game is officiated. I think, right, that if Aaron Kunda had gone down on that initial shove, that the guy that was retaliating, the guy that was the second shove, would have been Cullen. I think Cullen would have gotten a red card. Aaron Kunda would have gotten the yellow. But because Aaron Kunda is a sturdy dude, he takes the shove and shoves the guy back. The guy goes down like a sack of rocks, and that guy only gets a yellow because he's hurt. And Aaron Kunda is going to get this red card. The bro, it's a violation. It's a violation. You know, and I'm not saying Aaron Kunda's absolved of blame here. He absolutely needed at least a yellow card. Probably should be getting a red card any way you slice it. But that doesn't change the fact that what Liam Cullen did is embarrassing. Right? Even if Aaron Kunda deserves this red card, what this Cullen guy did, it's embarrassing. And it's an endemic thing in this sport. And you can't change my mind that if Aaron Kunda had gone down this way after Cullen shoved him, Cullen would have gotten the red. And that sucks. I don't want to see that. I want to see the best athletes competing as hard as they want to with crazy intensity. I want to see the rules of the game to allow that to happen within reason. And yet we're being robbed of that. Also, they did a nice job fixing my nose, didn't they?